8 gebouwen, verdeeld over de diverse wijken van onze stad. Enschede. Dagelijks verspreiden zich meer dan 3.500 leerlingen over onze 8 locaties. Leerlingen die overal vandaan komen. Met verschillende achtergronden, culturen, omstandigheden en behoeftes. En al deze leerlingen helpen we iedere dag samen een stukje verder. Persoonlijk, in groepen, voor topsport, cultuur en wetenschap, hun persoonlijke ontwikkeling. To discover their world of gewoon het echte vakwerk.
Ik hou van mensen helpen.
Ja, ik wil later fysiotherapeut worden.
Ik heb nog niet echt een keuze gemaakt waar ik naar heen wil. Ik sta er eigenlijk nog vrij in.
Ik vind het stedelijk heel tof, want er zijn talenturen.
Want dan kun je gewoon kanten van jezelf leren kennen wat je nog niet wist.
De mensen hier zijn ook allemaal heel aardig, de leraren ook.
It's different than what I'm used to. Big, small family actually.
Ja, ik kan op deze school heel goed mezelf zijn.
Ik denk dat wij heel goed zijn in het contact met de kinderen. Je komt iedereen tegen, je kent iedereen bij naam.
Maar natuurlijk zijn er wel verbeterpunten qua ons goed bijvoorbeeld op de kaart zetten.
Misschien kan ik wel iets strenger zijn, zelfs. Ja.
Een goede docent is een docent die de leerlingen begrijpt.
Iemand die leerlingen vaardigheden moet aanleren.
Ik ben een docent die naast de leerling staat.
Heel erg laagdrempelig en heel erg informeel.
Ik denk dat veel docenten heel erg passie voor hun vak hebben en dat vind ik heel fijn.
Ik vind het fijn als ze humor hebben en als je er goed mee kan praten.
De leerling is natuurlijk waar het om draait.
Ik ben altijd eerlijk. Als ik het niet mee eens ben, zeg ik het ook.
Wanneer is mijn doel geslaagd?
Wanneer een leerling gelukkig is, dat ze terugkijken en zeggen we hebben een hele leuke tijd gehad hier. En dat ze goed voorbereid zijn op een vervolgstudie en op het leven.
Ik kies voor het stedelijk.
Het stedelijk.
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 En heb hebben stedelijk.
Sowieso het stedelijk.
Het stedelijk.
Stedelijk.
Het stedelijk.
Stedelijk.
Het stedelijk, daar wil je zijn.
Wie je ook bent, wat je ook doet, samen komen we verder.
Good evening, everybody, watching from home, our own students, parents, and hopefully new students. And I want to welcome you. My name is Mr. Miller. I'm one of the coordinators here at State Lyceum, TTO.
And I am Monique Vermanen, and I'm also one of the coordinators here at TTO and also a teacher of English. Joining us today are a number of teachers. One of the teachers is over there. Sander is joining us, Sander Scholten. He'll be receiving, hopefully, questions that you might have. There's a WhatsApp number that you can use. Please send in your questions either in Dutch or in English. Don't worry, he will receive the questions and will tell us about the questions. Then we have Mitchell Boers and Nola Domneel, who will later on give us a short lesson in their particular subjects. We also have 2 students here at the table, and we've got Melody here and Renee Suzanne. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so the program for tonight. I'm going to start off with giving you a bit of information in Dutch, though, because it requires a lot of understanding technical terms, so I'll do that in Dutch. Then we have a lesson of maths. Then we will show a few films of our houses. We have a houses system here. Mr. Miller will tell you a bit more about that later. Then we have an interview with the 2 ladies here at the table, another clip of the houses, another lesson, and then it's history. And then, of course, we will ask Mr. Scholten if there are any questions, maybe from you at home, that you would like to ask us. Dat betekent dat ik dus nu ga switchen naar het Nederlands. Dat doe ik natuurlijk, dat zei ik net al, omdat het best een technisch verhaal is. Ik zal het wel kort houden, omdat de nadruk hopelijk vanavond ligt op dat wij zoveel mogelijk in het Engels aan jullie kunnen laten horen. In eerste instantie zijn wij als TTO-school gecertificeerd. En dat betekent dat wij gecontroleerd worden door een organisatie en dat heet het NUFIC. Elke school heeft natuurlijk zijn eigen onderwijsinspectie, of de onderwijsinspectie in Nederland. En wij hebben daarbovenop nog eens een keer onze eigen onderwijsinspectie. En het NUFIC controleert TTO-scholen op de kwaliteit. Nou, waar controleren zij ons dan met name op? Dat zijn op deze 3 aspecten. Dat zijn dus bijvoorbeeld de taalontwikkeling. Dat is het wereldburgerschap. Hoe organiseren wij dat als school zijnde? En de persoonlijke ontwikkeling van leerlingen. Wat doen wij eigenlijk daaraan als school? Nou, ten eerste even die taalontwikkeling. Wij hebben de verantwoordelijkheid om te zorgen, het is TTO, tweetalig onderwijs in het Engels natuurlijk, dat leerlingen een zo hoog mogelijk niveau gaan bereiken in het Engels. En daar zijn verschillende manieren voor om dat te bereiken. Onder andere bijvoorbeeld voor ons om zoveel mogelijk vakken aan te bieden in het Engels. En dat betekent dat wij bijvoorbeeld wiskunde in het Engels aanbieden. Lichamelijke opvoeding, de gymdocent die spreekt in het Engels. Bijvoorbeeld het vak geschiedenis, het vak aardrijkskunde, het vak arts. Dus er zijn verschillende vakken waarin de docent Engels spreekt, waar de leerlingen Engels spreken. Althans, het is onze hoop en wel de bedoeling dat zij dat zoveel mogelijk doen, ook onderling en naar de docent toe. De boeken, de methodes, die zijn helemaal in het Engels. De toetsen zijn in het Engels. En we hebben boven onze eigen afdeling. En zodra leerlingen op de afdeling zijn, is het ook de bedoeling dat zij switchen naar het Engels. En met name dus onderling. Wij zijn ook een Cambridge school. En Cambridge school betekent dus dat wij Cambridge examens mogen afnemen. Bij ons gaan op dit moment onze derdejaarsleerlingen, die zijn zich aan het voorbereiden op de Cambridge Checkpoints examens. En dat betekent dat zij een mooi certificaat kunnen halen. Wij hebben dit jaar voor het eerst een MAVO-TTO-klas. Dat is de brugklas. En het is de bedoeling dat zij aan het einde van het tweede jaar hopelijk ook een certificaat van Cambridge kunnen gaan halen. Bij ons in de bovenbouw zou je door kunnen gaan wanneer je daarvoor kiest. En dan kun je in het examenjaar nog eens een keer een IB-examen doen. Dat is best een lastig woord, maar dat is International Baccalaureate. En dat betekent zoveel als een extra examen doen, een certificaat halen waarbij jij academische vaardigheden ontwikkelt. En alles natuurlijk in het Engels. Wij moeten ook zorgen dat we wereldburgers opleiden. En dat betekent dat wij een verantwoordelijkheid hebben weer om leerlingen kennis te laten maken met andere culturen, op bezoek te laten gaan in andere landen, eens een keer echt bij een ander om de deur te kijken. Wij hebben bijvoorbeeld in het tweede jaar een uitwisseling met Duitsland. Wij hebben in het derde jaar een reis naar Engeland. In het vierde jaar gaan onze leerlingen naar Brussel, naar het Europees Parlement. En in het vijfde jaar is er nog een uitwisseling met Spanje. Dus dat betekent eigenlijk dat je best wel veel ook in het buitenland komt. Ja, nu in tijd van corona kan dat natuurlijk niet. Maar wij hopen natuurlijk dat we dat allemaal zo snel mogelijk weer mogen oppakken. Daarnaast hebben wij hier ook bepaalde feestdagen die wij bovenop de afdeling organiseren. Ook helaas dit jaar zo min mogelijk. Maar ook daar hopen wij weer, dat wij dat natuurlijk weer zo snel mogelijk mogen oppakken. Maar wij vieren bijvoorbeeld Halloween, we doen aan Thanksgiving, natuurlijk Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, St. George. Dus wij vieren verschillende feestdagen, of daar besteden we aandacht aan, waardoor leerlingen hun kennis van andere culturen ook steeds meer uitbreiden op die manier. Persoonlijke ontwikkeling heeft te maken met de houses. En daar gaat meneer Miller in het Engels jullie iets over vertellen.
Okay, so thank you very much. So when you first come to our school, what we do, we've got a house system, and maybe you're aware of Harry Potter. You can see the houses there. And in English-speaking countries, we have house systems. So, for example, at our school, we have got Ireland, Canada, South Africa, and Great Britain. They've all got their own names. I'm not going to tell you that now. And it's a system. So when you come to school as a little kid, and then there's all these big kids around you, you come into a house. And if you've got brothers or sisters, you're probably going to the same house, if you'd like that. Or you pick up a card and you say, okay, I'm in House Canada. And from first year to 6 VVO in our TTO department, you've actually got people to look after you. And we'll be hearing a little bit more of that, hopefully from the girls later. But it's a place where you feel a house becomes a home. And it's more like, instead of a department, it's like a TTO family. That's actually what we strive to do. So it's very, very important that you feel at home from day one. And how do we do that? We also can earn points. So you have house points. You know, we have lots of competitions, traditions. Mevrouw van Manen has already said that. We have sport. You can earn it from sport against the other 3 houses. So the 4 houses have a competition and you get house points. If you're good, you do something for the school. extra for the school. Okay, you can get a house point. Sport, British sports that we do. It's very, very exciting. And we announce this as well in assemblies. An assembly is also from an English system where we come together as a TTO. We even work sometimes with the IST, International School here, who have also a house system. It's a great way. And you earn points. And the champions this year are South Africa. South Africa won it. It was very, very close. And the last event, and they're champions. And that gets celebrated. They get a trophy and prizes. And why do we do this? It's to make sure that you get confidence. You learn about competitiveness. And you feel safe and happy. And somebody from 6th year or the 5th year, or 4th, 3rd, even the 2nd year has been there in that 1st year, and they can help. They can help the 1st year kids, and that's how it works. And that develops. You develop that, and we'll be talking as well that you can actually go to a house captain. Each house has a captain and prefects that assist the house captains, but also assist between the house captains and also the students and teachers. You've got fantastic teachers who really, really want to help the kids learn English, but also have fun and learn the cultures.
Thank you. Dan denk ik dat het nu best wel eventjes een mooi moment is om te vragen of meneer Scholten misschien al vragen binnen heeft van mensen via de WhatsApp.
Ja, er zijn al een paar vragen binnengekomen. Dus ouders en leerlingen thuis natuurlijk, dank je wel daarvoor. De eerste vraag is eigenlijk in het Nederlands. Dus vandaar dat ik ook even de vragen in het Nederlands stel. Monique, ik denk dat jij deze vragen heel mooi kunt beantwoorden. Zijn ouders zijn benieuwd, waarom is er eigenlijk een bijdrage voor TTO-leerlingen die je als ouder betaalt? Hele
goede vraag. Wij zijn, dat staat natuurlijk ook op de website. Dus ik snap ook inderdaad dat ouders zich hebben geïnformeerd daarover. Ik heb in het begin uitgelegd dat wij gecontroleerd worden door een bepaalde organisatie. En zij controleren ons ook op het feit dat bijvoorbeeld zo'n uitwisseling die wij in het 2e jaar organiseren met 2 TTO-scholen in Duitsland, dat je dat ook doet en dat je samen met die scholen een project doorloopt. In de 5e hebben wij in VWO een uitwisseling met een school in Spanje, is ook een TTO-school. En dat zijn verplichtingen die je aangaat als TTO-school zijnde. En dat betekent dus dat de regering betaalt dat niet voor ons. En dat betekent dat wij met name voor dat soort zaken een bijdrage moeten vragen aan de ouders. Dus dat is waarom wij een bijdrage moeten vragen.
Nou, lijkt me helder. Dankjewel, Monique. Richard, I got an English question for you as well. Okay. Some questions about exchanges with foreign schools, foreign TTO schools. For me, it's hard to imagine as a geography teacher. But what if students don't want to be part of an exchange? Maybe they can't, they unable, or they don't want to be part. Do we offer an alternative plan or schedule?
No, well, if they can't because they're ill or for a very valid reason, of course they can't. But the whole point of an exchange is that, hopefully we'll be hearing it from one of our students later about their experience, is that you go to another TTO, another country, and you share, it's called an exchange because our students go to, for example, Germany, Hattingen, and later on in the year, the same child comes back and stays with our student. And if people don't do that, you lose the involvement and the chance to experience the culture. Yeah. And if you don't experience that, of course, we had one girl, she was homesick, she went for 3 days, and then she came back. But the next time she went to England, she stayed the whole time. So you really have to just try and do your best. And to say, oh, well, I'm not going to take part in an exchange is a sign, well, actually, maybe it's not right for TTO.
Yeah. You miss out on the good stuff.
You miss out on such a wonderful experience, as hopefully we'll be hearing later on.
That is the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Richard.
Okay, thank you for the questions. I think now it's time for maybe your very first lesson of maths in English by Mr. O'Donnell. Mr. O'Donnell, good luck.
Okay, thank you, Monique. I would like to welcome you to a maths class here. My name, as you heard, is Mr. O'Donnell. I've been teaching in this school now nearly 20 years, which the time flies by. And I have to be honest, I really loved every minute of it. When I look back over the years, all these students I had, I feel privileged to have taught them. The way we start here in this school, the way I approach maths, I sort of split most of my classes into 3 groups when I can. There's always a group who struggle a little bit with maths. So what I try to do is to get this group extra time and time on their own where they can work and maybe ask questions, and we go through the explanation another time. So this gives students more time and maybe try and explain it in a different way. We have the middle group who sort of work at the normal rate, and they take their time and they work with the group. So they work at this, what I would call the standard pace. But we also focus on students who are really, really good at maths, who maths comes very, very easy for them. And we're lucky here that we have the tradition in TTOs based on the English system, that we have competition between schools and we take part in these competitions. In this school we take part, we train for it, and we take part in 3 different competitions: the Olympiad, the Wiskunde Kangaroo competition that's held all over Holland, and we have good track record in these things, which I'm really proud of. It's nice to work with smart students. And the one between TTO schools is the Maths Team Challenge, and I'm delighted to say that this school has won that more than any other TTO school. So I'm really proud of them that they represented Holland, the Netherlands in Tunbridge when the big finals in England. That said, I'm going to start today. It's hard to teach online, something that I'm not used to. As I said, I'm a teacher for a long time. I'm more used to teaching face-to-face, and I like that. So teaching to a camera is something new for me. But that's the time we live in. Now, if I had to pick something that's important in maths, when you're starting, something that's really important in maths are patterns. And what I like about this, if you look at the history of maths, these patterns developed 5,000 years ago, plus even, before even we started recording stuff as humans. These maths developed in all different corners of the world at the same time, independently of each other. And one of the things that developed, and I have it on the board here, are square numbers. So we're going to look at square numbers. And whatever you do in your 6, 5 or 4 years here in Head Stedelijk Lyceum South and TTO, square numbers are a central part of most maths. So a square number, we write a little 2 here for a square number. Now, a square number is based on the word square. Vierkant, I think, in Dutch, but a square number. So you'd have a square, and both sides are, let's say, 7 and 7. So we would look at the area, and the area would be 49. 7 times 7, 49, as you know. And we depict the square with the small 2 that we have here. Now, this small 2 means that the numbers we time the number by itself. So if we go through the numbers, so 1 squared means 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 squared, 2 times 2, of course, which is 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, as we had before, 81, 100, 121. Now I'm going to stop here for a second, because most kids, when they come in from primary school, they know this. They know this from their times table, and they understand them well. They've learned it quite well. So the ones that I try to extend in year 1 are the next few, that you know them off by heart and that you know that they're square numbers. So one of them would be 144, 169, 196, and 225. Now, I always tell my students that these 2 are easy to remember, because we switch the digits 6 and 9 back and forth for 14 squared and 13 squared. So they're easily remembered. And I try and get them in year 1 to memorize all these, because it's a nice pattern. But as I said earlier, this pattern sort of developed 5,000 years ago. People, when they start looking at numbers, they start looking at these particular numbers, and they were of interest to most developing civilizations. Now, here in Europe, what we did was we looked at the square, like I drew here. We looked at the square and this pattern where you had 1 square, where you had 4 squares, and where we had 9 squares. They were developing all the time. And so this is the way we looked at it in Europe here. But in different parts of the world, they looked at this slightly different. So they started off with 1 square here. And what they did was they added squares to the side. I'll put this one in red, and you'll see what happens. rather than going in a square, especially in the South Pacific, they developed the same pattern for squares in this format. And if you notice, if I draw them like this, that you have the same amount of blocks. But one of the old manuscripts that was discovered a few hundred years ago, they treated this, that the center part, because they lived in a very volatile area, that the center part was based on a volcano and the blocks on the side came out. So the maths stayed the same, but the story with the maths changed quite a little bit different. So this would be my first introduction here, that we would look at square numbers and that we would see the patterns of square numbers. And from here, of course, we would move on to other patterns. And probably one of the patterns that we would use would be cubic numbers. So cubic numbers would be the same number times itself 3 times. Thank you, Dylan. So now, when I look at the patterns over here, I showed you these patterns where we had the same numbers appearing. Excuse me for turning my back. The same numbers appearing a few times. And this is very similar to another pattern that appeared called triangular numbers. So triangular numbers start with 1 point. So we have 1. Then you have 2 points, and if we count up all the points, we have 3. And then we have the next triangle, and count them all up, we have 6. We have the next set of points here, we have 10. We have the next set of points here, which is 15. And again, people started looking and discovering these patterns at different times. And if you see here, the difference here, we started probably with 0. There was +1, +2, +3, +4, +5, +6. And this is a pattern that develops based really from the square, but it gives us a different set of numbers, a different set of ideas. And we looked at these ideas, and previous mathematicians said, how do we fit these in? And it's amazing how good they fit into our mathematical system of today. To learn more about this, you have to come here to school and find out. And then from here, we looked at Fibonacci numbers. Fibonacci, an Italian scholar in the Middle Ages, roughly, and developed sort of a sequence of numbers that, and it's in the film, The Da Vinci Code, that you add the 2 previous numbers. 1 and 1 is 2, 1 and 2 is 3, 2 and 3 is 5, 3 and 5 is 8, 8 and 5 is 13, and so on. So it's another pattern. And all these patterns have a very important place in the world of mathematics. So a pattern is also based on code breaking. We used to do a program here a few years ago on cracking different codes. And some of these patterns were important, integrating them to crack these codes. And it's it was a course that I actually enjoyed and I hope to bring back in the near future. So this has been very fast, I feel, because usually I'm used to talking to people face-to-face, having interaction, people come up with ideas. At the moment, staring down a camera I find quite difficult, but enjoyable. But I hope you get an idea of what we want to create here in TTO, how we want to look at maths and look at things in different. As I said, I'm more used to being old-fashioned, maybe the old-fashioned way of teaching, having the board, showing how questions are developed, how things happen. But we live in a very different time here during the Corona time. Normally this time of year, we would have an exchange with the Aran Islands on the west coast of Ireland who would visit us. They would be here. I know they're watching tonight, so hello to them. And sort of, I'm coming to the end of my lessons. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, I know we'll have different times here that you can contact us in school. And that's my bit for this evening. Therefore, I think I have to hand you back to Monique and Richard. And I wish you a good evening and I hope you're enjoying yourselves.
Thank you very much, Mr. O'Donnell. Very interesting lesson. And especially because of Aran Island is one of the places that we exchange. Obviously, Mr. O'Donnell, we have differences because he's Irish and I'm English, but we are great colleagues. He's still a little bit upset because in the rugby match, England beat Ireland. Now, he hasn't said a lot about it. He was very quiet and he drank his English tea very, very quietly, but I know now why. We're going to go now and watch two films from the Canada and Ireland flogs. And Renee is house captain from Ireland, and Melody is from Canada. And I should also mention that Mr. O'Donnell, like other teachers, also belong to houses. Mr. O'Donnell belongs to the Irish house, and that's all part of the home feeling. So let's go now and enjoy these vlogs. They're brilliant.
This was our house 1 year ago with our lovely Mr. Boers.
And this year we won our Conkers competition. And 2 years ago when we started the houses, we also won. And we would love for you to join us so you can learn about Conkers and games we play.
We actually have a whole TTO department, as I'm showing you right now. And if you walk to this one, this is our house. We decorate it. This is our whole wall we painted. Then we have something else, also made by ourselves. And our motto is, we are not just colder, we are also cooler. See, very cool. And I have no idea what they're doing, but being creative is what we do. We would like you to join our house and help us be more creative. We also have a beautiful portrait. Mrs. Vermaelen, you see here. You look angry. There are also other houses which you will see as well. It's all on the same department, just the TTO department actually. See you later.
Renee. I am a house captain of TTO with the House of Ireland, and this is a small house tour of what we do and what we stand for. Is the 836, this one, which is Mr. O'Donnell's classroom, the maths classroom, and we have it decorated with the Ireland flag, as well as other houses having their own flags on the walls or on the windows. This is the A3 classroom. It's open, it's a study area, it's essentially for anybody who has a free period or wants to study in their free time. Back here we have the bilingual department where we have a couple couches and flags and a couple of our students studying as well. Essentially kind of a lounge area where students can relax and take a step back and study. And it's really just to show our community and to show what we want to do in our academic careers. House of Ireland, and we hope to see you next year.
Now, hopefully you enjoyed that, because we certainly did. I'd like to actually now ask some questions, and I'm going to start off. We're going to ask some questions to you, because you represent our TTO students, and you're both house captains. So, start with you, Renee. Why did you choose TTO?
I chose TTO because I really wanted to learn more about English. I wanted to know English better. I wanted to become fluent. And I also knew from a relatively young age that I had an interest in working internationally or just traveling and all those kinds of things. And the idea of becoming more fluent in a language as broad and as widely known as English was really something I wanted, and it's something I did.
And have you got any regrets?
I do not, no. I really enjoy it.
Fantastic. Great that you're here.
Okay, and Melody, I know that some younger students might be wondering, is it really difficult to start off in TTO? What if I don't really know that much English yet getting into TTO? So can you share your experiences with us? Was it difficult when you started TTO?
I thought it was difficult, yeah. I didn't speak a word English, yeah. I only had like a few experiences with the English language, but after the first year, half a year, it became more, I became more adapted to the language because I spoke English like all the time. The lessons were in English, of course, and the more English you speak, the more fluent you become and easier it gets.
Okay, so they don't have to worry about that?
No, and the teachers will help you as well. So
that's what we're here for.
Yeah,
of course.
Okay, well, I'd actually like to ask you, we talked about, one of the questions was about the exchange. And, well, I remember I was actually your mentor then as well. So we went to Germany, Hattingen, and obviously they came back to us. But that first exchange, how did you experience that?
It was great. The bus ride, especially.
Yeah.
it's
Sore
the
throat
fun.
after all that singing.
Yeah, true. And yeah, once we got there, it was a bit, like what are we supposed to do now? But you meet your partner and you get used to each other, and you found out what they like and what you like, if you have similarities, and you meet other cultures. Mine had a different culture than the German, so I got to know 2 different cultures in 1 week. So yeah, that was really fun. And overall, the experience was just amazing because you just walked in a whole different school with a different language. Yeah, they spoke English, of course, but still the other kids spoke German and you didn't understand a word of that. But yeah, I think it was great.
It's great. And also when your partner came back to you, so the other student experienced, Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an amazing bond together. I went to visit her last year.
Really?
Yeah, even the year before. No, last year.
So you kept in touch?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah?
She was amazing. Yeah.
Okay. That is really, really great. So now you're both house captains. We've had this system now for about 3 years. This is our 3rd year. Canada won the 1st year. So South Africa won the 2nd, and we're waiting, of course, to see what's going to happen this year. So Renee, is it a lot of fun to be in a house? I mean, you know what it was like before we had the houses system here, because you're in year 5 now, and you know what it's like now to be in a house. You're even the captain. So how do you experience that?
I think it's really incredible because I remember when I was younger, we didn't have houses, and the gap between the first years and especially the seniors, like the upper classes, was really big. It was really scary to reach out to someone who wasn't in your class, so you were pretty much only stuck to the people that you knew.
Yeah.
And the moment you have houses, I notice it as well because I'm now a senior, I have younger people who come up to me, and it's really incredible to be able to help them as well. And I can also imagine that being young, that helps a lot. So it's really nice to have like a space that's safe and a space that feels like home inside of school.
And you sometimes have house meetings. Mm-hmm. What's that like?
It can be a bit chaotic sometimes.
There are no teachers involved?
There's no teachers involved. No. You have the house captains and the prefects who do most of the work that the teachers would normally do. They keep charge of everything. And it's really incredible, especially with my house. I obviously have more experience because people are very enthusiastic, so they want to answer very quickly, and it can become a bit much. But it's really great. It's really fun. The atmosphere is amazing. And it's just nice to be able to get together and
it's true what Mr. Miller said, it's like a team, it's like a family.
Yeah, definitely.
So it works that way.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Of course, we have 2 more houses. We have South Africa and we have Great Britain as well. Let's look at their vlogs because they also are introducing themselves to us.
Welcome to our house. We are the Ghost Riders. I'm Ilya, I'm the prefect of this house. I'm Zeynep, I'm the house captain. And we represent England. First of all, before we show you our house, we want to say that TTO is a place for everyone to come together. It's a big community of love and bonding together. And it's a nice place to come into when you're new to high school, so you got people to go to for advice or when you need someone to talk to. And our house is perfect for that. Let me show you the inside. So these are our house rules. There's few of them. We have speak English, don't make a mess, help each other, and treat people with kindness. And treat people with kindness is actually the most important house rule we have, because we accept everyone here, all races, all sexualities, literally everyone, as long as you respect other people. Doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what your religion is. As long as you treat other people with kindness and you treat other people with respect, you're welcome, and that's what we stand for.
Joining TTO doesn't only mean that you have to follow strict rules about only talking English, but we also do like fun games and competitions together with all the houses.
and you can like win points with if you like win those competitions, and if you have the most house points in the end of the year, you can win prizes. Which
Thank you for watching our vlog. We hope to see you in our house.
See you next year!
Hi, I'm Rose. I'm the house leader of Cape Hopeful.
Hello, I'm Aisan. I'm the co-house leader of the House of Cape Hopeful. Our house is based on the country of South Africa, and our slogan is Diverse People Unite.
And we are the best house because we won the house competition last year, which basically shows that we are the best house. And we are planning on winning this year again, obviously. Currently, we're not doing that well with points, but we're trying to get our points up again with the annual food donation for the Voedselbank, and we hope that will help us win.
The reason why our house is the best house has partly to do with our slogan. Our slogan is Diverse People Unite. This means that people everywhere in the world can be accepted just the way they are, and that people are united. What we also do as a house together are good deeds. Last year, we had a food collection where everyone brought in food, collected it, and we brought it to a place where people who can't afford food could collect it. All good deeds count. This could be cleaning up somewhere, helping out somewhere or someone, and this is why our house is the best house.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed meeting our 4 houses, Canada, Ireland, South Africa and Great Britain, and that you know a bit more now about this house system and why it's so important to our students. And I think it's time now to go to our second lesson of this evening, which is history by Mr. Boers, and I think he's getting help from Dylan. Good luck, both of you.
Thank you very much, Monique. And indeed, welcome to this second lesson. We saved the best lesson for last because I'm going to talk you a little bit throughout history. And of course, maths is important, English is important, but history is actually the subject which is most important. I've put a quote up here. History is who we are and why we are the way we are. History is not just the past, but history is the present. And that's exactly why history is so important, because if you want to understand the present, you have to understand the history. So my first year students always think, well, history is one big red flag. It's only about the people in the past that already passed away, they're dead, so why do we have to know about the dead? And just because of that specific reason, I've asked Dylan today to be here, to be my assistant. My name is Mr. Boers. I'm a history teacher at College Zuid. I mostly teach in TTO, tweetalig onderwijs. Dylan is here next to me, is my third year student, also one of my mentor students. Maybe you can say something about yourself, your experiences in TTO or in history so far.
Yeah, as you heard from him, my name is Dylan. I'm a third year student, and obviously, like I said, my favorite experiences on TTO have been so far has actually been the exchanges like we had in the second year, because TTO is exclusive, and that is why we like it so far. And
what do you think of history? What do you think of the subject itself?
History is one of my favorites, because I actually enjoy the things we've been teaching this year, because this year is actually one of the subjects that, you know, one of your average people actually know, because our last year, second year, has been one of my most difficult years, because the last year we had things about the Renaissance and the 80-year war, which are things that the everyday person doesn't normally know. So it was kind of hard for me to know and understand.
Yes, because currently we're busy with the First World War, Second World War. Those are normally topics students are more interested in. And the thing is, with history, I always try to relate history to the present. Because if you understand history, and I will repeat myself quite a lot tonight, if you understand history, you will understand the present. And today I was asked to do a lesson about a certain topic. So Dylan and I were thinking, well, what is an interesting topic? And we came up with propaganda. And propaganda is a term, a word we are busy with right now, one of the important words. Can you give a definition of propaganda, Dylan?
Propaganda is a sort of, strategy, I guess you could say, to bring people who do not believe you by showing them, sort of a half-bent truth or like a fake picture to make someone look good while they actually don't look good. which you'll be explaining in a second.
Yeah, exactly. So we will also do one exercise in which we'll look at what propaganda is and how it works. But this picture perfectly shows us what propaganda basically is. It depends on how you look at a certain topic and how you perceive that topic. So what kind of, for example, two people see the same thing, but one sees a 6 and the other sees a 9. So that's little bit how propaganda works. So the definition of propaganda, it's a noun, which is a zelfstandig naamwoord. And that's also something I will help you with, because with history you will learn a lot of new words, but I will help you out with these words. So what is propaganda? Propaganda is a tactic in which people try to influence other people's minds by giving them information which is not always correct. And the goal of propaganda is to make sure that people get on your side, that they think the same way as you want them to think. So that's a little bit what propaganda is. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples, because throughout history, propaganda is used quite a lot. So at the top left you see a statue of the pharaoh Ramses II, who's portrayed. You can see if you've ever been to Egypt and you've seen these statues, they're quite large. The reason why is that the people in Egypt saw these pharaohs as important figures. So that's a form of propaganda, making them bigger than they were. Propaganda, the story about how Willem van Oranje, how he died, that he had famous last words, but actually he died right at the spot, so there were no famous last words. Propaganda. August, for example, these stories about Columbus and how he discovered America, which is not actually true. Dylan, maybe you can explain why I've put Napoleon up there.
Because Napoleon is actually a very small person. He's actually, I think he's like 5 feet, and like maybe 4 feet 9. But in this picture you can see he's like very tall. He's almost the size of the horse, and you can see he's very majestic. He has, like you see the French colors, like the horse like standing up, like, and the hat you can see, the cape, like it all looks very big while he's actually a pretty small person. I mean, maybe he's shorter than me actually.
Yeah, really good, because that's one of the exercises which we're going to do now. We're going to look at certain sources, could be pictures, could also be pieces of text, and we're going to look at what does the artist try to show us, what does he or she want us to think. And this is a little bit related to what we consider nowadays with fake news or alternative facts. Do we actually get all the information we need in order to come to a conclusion or to an opinion? So step by step. So what do we always do? And that's something we start off in the first year, the second year, and third year. Dylan is already knows this whole all these questions. So what do I see? So then we're going to look at what kind of objects do I see, what kind of people do I see, what kind of text do I see, are there any symbols? And then we're going to ask ourselves, what does it resemble? What is the meaning behind it? Then we're going to look at the artist's impression. Is he or she negative about or positive about the topic? And how can we actually see what the artist is trying to show us? So we'll do one together and then you can do the other one in yourself. So one of the research questions we came up with is, how did Hitler look at boys and girls? What did Hitler think about typical things that girls should be doing, and also the other way around with boys? So I've picked 2 of these posters from during the Second World War period. So the first one, and we're going to do this one together. So what do I see? So maybe you can explain me a little bit, what do you see? Just look the things, what you see on the picture itself.
Well, I see a little girl blushing, smiling, and I see some people behind her, probably the Germans, if I'm not mistaken. And I see some German text. Could you say that for me, maybe?
Yeah. Jugend dient dem Führer. The youth serves the leader, in this case Hitler. And at the bottom you can also see alle 10-jährigen in die Hitlerjugend, which means all the teenagers have to go into the Hitler youth. So yes, you see a girl, you see some text, you see some people behind it. You already said, you already get to the second question. What does it resemble? Yes, indeed, the people behind her resemble the German people. What is the artist trying to show here?
That probably by the way she is like in front of the people and she's smiling, is that the girls are supposed to take care of the people. Like she's smiling, like dress nice, look beautiful, put makeup on, like take care of the country. Well, like we are going to do in a second with the guy, it's going to be kind of different.
So in this picture, you can actually see what the Nazis, what Hitler thought about what girls should be like. So as Dylan just correctly mentioned, you see a girl smiling, you see her blushing, you see some people behind her who she serves. She's that motherly figure that the Nazis wanted girls to be. So she has to be that nice mother when you come at home and she has her dinner served for you. So now we're going to look at the same poster, but then for the boys. So Dylan, do the same thing. What do you see about the boys?
Well, what we're going to do about the steps, you see symbols, text, people. Obviously, it's the same text, like Jugend wint dem Führer.
Dient dem Führer.
Yeah, my bad. But you see a little boy, you see Hitler behind him. Obviously, it's kind of the same as with the little girl. Only, what do these people resemble? Obviously, the little boy resembles the kids, the boys of Germany, and that they're supposed to be the manly people. Like they have to, like take care of the kids, like go out and hunt, as like the olden days actually. Like dress nice, dress fancy, be like Hitler. Actually, that's why he's behind him, as you can see.
Yeah, really good. So these are things we typically do with history and sources. For example, if we work with sources, with history, we focus on critical thinking. So you have to be able to look at sources. For example, it could be the news, can also be something that happened in the past, and then ask yourself, what is this person, what is this journalist, what is he trying to show me? Do I have the full information to really understand what is going on here? And that's something you will see in the news, that you only see one side of a story, and it is up to you to decide how can I get more information. And that asks some critical thinking. So is history just about the past? No, it's about the present. And I'm repeating myself again, but I will. Because if you understand history, you will learn how to critically think, and then you will challenge dominant ideas. So if you know how to work with these historical skills, these skills will come in handy next when you want to study, for example, law or social work or civics or maybe in politics. So again, history is really important, and if you want to understand the present, you have to understand history, and that's why history is not a big red flag or a big green flag. And I think Dylan can agree with me, I hope.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. Okay, well, let's go back to Monique quickly, and I would like to thank you all for listening, and hopefully I will see you next year as well. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Boers and Dylan, of course. I think everybody's learned a bit more about why history is so important and such an important subject. And I think it's time now to ask Mr. Scholten, Sander, are there any other questions that came in through the WhatsApp line?
Ja, er zijn een paar hele leuke vragen binnengekomen, Monique. Dus ouders en leerlingen ook bedankt voor het enthousiasme thuis. Allereerst eigenlijk één goede vraag van een ouder over het contact tussen TTO-leerlingen en reguliere leerlingen. TTO-leerlingen hebben natuurlijk onderling heel veel contact, in de eigen klas en in de houses. Maar hoe staat het eigenlijk met het contact met de rest van de school? Maken ze ook vriendjes onderling met reguliere klassen?
Ja, het is natuurlijk zo dat leerlingen vakken, de theoretische vakken hebben ze vaak op onze afdeling boven. Met name de vakken die in het Engels worden gegeven. Andere vakken zullen zij ergens anders in de school hebben. Bijvoorbeeld praktijkvakken. Denk aan een vak als biologie of een vak als kunst of zelfs natuurlijk lichamelijke opvoeding. En dat betekent dat ze daar ook zeer zeker andere leerlingen tegenkomen. Het kan ook zijn dat je misschien wel een vriendje of vriendinnetje in een andere klas hebt. Diegene heeft misschien niet gekozen voor TTO. En dat betekent dat je tijdens de pauzes elkaar ziet. Dus leerlingen zullen sowieso met elkaar contact hebben. Het is alleen wel zo, als jij in TTO zit, heb je met jouw klas natuurlijk al die lessen. Dus daarom heb je vanzelfsprekend het meeste contact met de leerlingen uit jouw klas.
Ja, inderdaad. Ja, ik kan het zelf ook wel beamen. Ik ben zelf dan mentor van een reguliere klas. En ik merk ook dat leerlingen wel vriendjes maken met TTO-leerlingen inderdaad. Dus, maar dat is wel een hele goede vraag. Ja. En ook nog een paar vragen. En ook allemaal in het Nederlands. Dus ik ga ze ook weer in het Nederlands voorlezen of stellen aan jullie. Over de masterclasses en ook over meeloopdagen. Hoe kunnen leerlingen zich aanmelden voor de masterclasses? Monique, kan ik je aan jou
Ja,
vragen?
ja, zeker. Nou, wij hebben op onze website, als je naar College Zuid gaat en je gaat ook even kijken bij het tweetalig onderwijs, dan is daar een QR-code die je zou kunnen scannen, wat zorgt dat je bij een soort invulformulier terechtkomt om je op te geven voor de masterclasses. Ja, voor leerlingen en ouders die misschien nog helemaal niet weten, ja, wat is dat nou dan zo'n masterclass? Dat betekent op dit moment in ieder geval 2 masterclasses in december, 7 en 14 december. Waarbij je een online les krijgt. Net zoiets als wat je vandaag hebt meegemaakt met wiskunde en geschiedenis. Kan het ook zijn dat je een lesje Engels krijgt, misschien wel van meneer Miller. Ja. Dat zou heel goed kunnen. Het kan best zijn dat je misschien een les Engels van biologie zou kunnen krijgen. Of misschien wel van meneer Scholten. Misschien dat jij zelf nog een aardrijkskundeles in het Engels gaat verzorgen online. Dat is ongeveer 30 tot 45 minuten wat op een maandagmiddag gegeven wordt. Dus dat volg je vanuit huis. En je kunt je daarvoor dus opgeven door even naar de website te gaan. Er staat ook nog een e-mailadres. Mocht het niet lukken met de QR-code, dan kun je ook via het e-mailadres opgeven bij ons. En zo kun je opgeven voor de masterclasses.
Oké, helder. Dankjewel. En stel dat dat een leerling heel graag bijvoorbeeld echt een experience, een TTO-experience wil. En die wil heel graag een dagje meelopen. Dan is dat ook mogelijk, neem ik aan.
Ja.
Richard?
This morning we had a girl and she joined our class, abdominals class for the day. And it was great having her in the lesson. She was with a couple of friends. Hopefully she enjoyed it. So yes, they can contact us, get the experience, taste the TTO culture, and then they can help them make a decision.
Okay, perfect.
Definitely.
Well, thanks. En het is eigenlijk ook nog een vraag in het Nederlands, dus ik krijg hem hier binnen, dus ik ga hem ook alweer even in het Nederlands stellen. Stel nou dat leerlingen toch nog wel tegenop zien. Ze vinden het toch spannend om veel Engels te praten en ze doen het liever nog deels in het Nederlands. Is dat een probleem in het eerste jaar? Jullie zeiden net inderdaad van niet. Leerlingen moeten inderdaad nog groeien, het gaat om de ervaring. Kunnen jullie daar nog iets over zeggen, Richard?
Yeah, the main point is to try and talk English. Melody said she couldn't speak that much English, but if she kept being allowed to talk in Dutch, well, would your English have improved?
Well, if I only spoke Dutch, not, but...
No, so, we're patient. You get help from your students that are, stronger in English, your housemates and the teachers. So no, but we try and get you. Look, if you don't know, for example, the word nervous, and you don't know what that is, one of your friends will know that, and that way you progress. So, but of course, you start here and you progress, and that's the way. But just by practicing and having the confidence, and that's what we want to emphasise: the confidence to actually be scared to make mistakes. Okay. And that's not just obviously that's in our whole school, but especially TTO. You've got people around you who will help you improve your English.
Oké, helder. Dankjewel. Okay. Nou, volgens mij goed beantwoord, dus dankjewel.
And summing that up, for who would TTO be pretty suitable, Richard? I mean, you just talked about that.
Yeah, it's for people who really want the challenge. Do we do it perfectly here? No, we don't. Do we want to do it perfect? Yes. We're going to do our best to become the best TTO school in the Netherlands. And if you want to be part of that, well, first of all, you need to be a MAVO, HAVO or VVO advice from your school. You really need to be, the main thing is about communicating. You can learn about grammar and everything else, but you have the confidence to talk English and learn the cultures. If you want to learn the cultures and learn English in a wonderful way, with regards, Mr. O'Dominal thinks his subject's the best, maths. Mr. Boers thinks history's the best. But obviously, of course, English is the best. And that's why you come in here. If you're not scared to fail and get up, it's not about failing, it's getting up and carrying on. And I think really that's the message. TTO, if you do your best, you'll be fine. You'll get there. And you've got people around you, not just teachers, but you've got your housemates. So it's really special. You'll be part of a special TTO family. Also, why are you learning English? It's to help you in the future. Universities, all the, travelling abroad. The world is a lot smaller, as we've seen as well, online. And if you can go anywhere, most places, and you'll get away with speaking English. And by doing TTO, I'm sure you're going to get the confidence to do it. And that is a massive plus. So if you kids, if you really want the challenge to see more of the world, learn English in a really creative and effective way, I think you would love our school, at TTO department especially. And also learn, remember, it's not failing, making mistakes, is getting up and carrying on and achieving your goal. Okay? So that's why we want you to come to our school if you're prepared to be part of our TTO family. In a nutshell.
I think there might be one last question. I think you just signaled me a bit, Sander.
Yeah, I was
je
waving.
gaf mij een seintje. Er is nog een vraag.
Ja, beautiful question. Ook weer in het Nederlands trouwens. En eigenlijk wel voor de... Ja, René en Suzanne, ik kijk jou zo aan. Jullie zijn eigenlijk beide, Melody ook, leerlingen in de bovenbouw. Dus jullie hebben beide ook jullie vakkenpakket natuurlijk voor de bovenbouw gekozen. René, als ik jou zo vraag, jullie hebben een vakkenpakket in de bovenbouw gekozen. Heb je dan nog steeds je lessen in TTO?
Bepaalde vakken hebben we nog steeds wel in het Engels. Vakken zoals lichamelijk onderwijs, cultural studies, dat hebben wij zeker allemaal nog in het Engels. Maar vakken waarvan wij het eindexamen in het Nederlands moeten doen, hebben wij dan ook in het Nederlands.
Okay.
Dus vakken zoals Engels hebben we dan wel extra lessen voor. En daar volgen we ook IB curriculum voor. Dus daar hebben we extra lessen, extra uitleg, extra toetsen. Maar voor vakken zoals geschiedenis wordt het wel allemaal in het Nederlands gegeven, zodat we ons eindexamen wel in het Nederlands kunnen maken.
Ja, zodat het niet daar extra moeilijk voor wordt.
Ja.
Oké, dus het is wel echt aangepast aan...
Tot en met de derde.
Ja, tot en met de derde.
Helemaal goed. Nou, mooi. Helder, dankjewel.
Oké, heel mooi. En nog even ter herinnering, de masterclasses. Geef je alsjeblieft op als je een beetje nieuwsgierig bent geworden door vanavond, door de lessen, door de verhalen van René, Suzanne en van Melody. Dan zou je kunnen dus opgeven door naar de website te gaan en of de QR-code of het e-mailadres te gebruiken. Je ziet hier de data staan, 7 en 14 december is sowieso online. Wij moeten nog afwachten wat we in januari kunnen en mogen natuurlijk. 11 en 18 januari zijn de laatste 2 masterclasses. En misschien mag je dan wel hier komen om hier echt live zo'n les mee te maken. Wij hebben ook nog een open huis. Ook daarvan weten we nu nog niet precies in welke vorm en hoe we dat allemaal mogen organiseren. Maar dat zou dan op 19 januari plaatsvinden. Dus wie weet online of misschien wel face-to-face dat we jullie dan een keertje mogen treffen hier op school. Rest mij eigenlijk om jullie te bedanken voor het kijken en voor de vragen die via de WhatsApp binnenkomen. Die gaan wij zeer zeker nog beantwoorden. Dus het is niet zo dat als we nu live hier de vraag niet behandeld hebben, dat er geen antwoord op komt. Natuurlijk gaan we daar antwoord op geven. En misschien zelfs vanavond en anders zullen we dat morgen in de loop van de dag natuurlijk doen. Mochten jullie verder nog vragen hebben, mail of meneer Miller of mij wanneer het over TTO gaat. Je ziet dat wij allebei een beetje ons eigen specialisme hebben, maar wij kunnen allebei alle vragen over TTO beantwoorden. Dus in principe maakt het niet uit welke van de mailadressen jullie zouden gebruiken daarvoor. Mr. Miller, a final word perhaps?
Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to join us. I'd like to also thank you, and the teachers who gave the lessons, and Dylan, wonderful, and for Melody and Renee Susan, for Sander, and also the management who arranged it, Tim Maria, and for the webinar team, because you've done a great job. You put my flag here instead of Mr. O'Donnell's. It was very good. And we'll say thanks. If you want to be part of our team, you know where to find us. Thank you very, very much.
Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.